Hey everybody, welcome. Today we're going to talk about drawing in perspective. When we are drawing in perspective, we are attempting to render something in 3 dimensions or looking like it's in 3 dimensions on a 2-dimensional or flat surface. Before we get started, there's some important vocabulary that we need to talk about. The most important word I think of all is what's called the vanishing point. And the vanishing point is the point at which parallel lines look like they're converging. So the most obvious example of a vanishing point might be if you were standing on train tracks and you saw the 2 lines of train tracks that seemed to be parallel to each other, but as they went further and further away, they seemed to get to a closer point. So that would be an example of a vanishing point. It's that point off in the distance where it seems like diagonal lines that are parallel seem to touch. That vanishing point is connected to, or those lines are called, orthogonal lines. Orthogonal lines are like the 2 lines of the train tracks, lines that converge to a vanishing point. So any line that converges to a vanishing point is an orthogonal line. If we think about the word ortho, okay, ortho means very direct and straight, okay? So if you were to get orthodontics on your teeth, those orthodontics would help to straighten your teeth out. If you're orthodox in your religion, you follow a very straight and ordered version of a religion. So ortho is kind of the root word, and those are the lines that converge to a vanishing point. Besides that, you have a horizon, and on the horizon you would have horizontal lines, and those are the lines that go straight across. And then you have vertical lines as well, and those are the lines that go straight up and down. So we have 3 different types of lines. We have orthogonal lines, which go to the vanishing point. We have horizontal lines, and then we have vertical lines. And really everything that we're going to do involves all of those things. We're going to look at what's called 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective, and the kind of crazy and interesting 3-point perspective. Each of these points is known as the vanishing point. And a lot of times you'll see me write it as a VP, vanishing point. You might see me write it as a left vanishing point, a right vanishing point, and then this one will also have a bottom vanishing point too, okay? So we will take a look at all of these things and do some exercises with them. All right, everybody, for these exercises, you're gonna need a couple bits of materials. If you have a ruler, that's great. If you have a longer ruler, that's fine. If you just have a shorter ruler, that should be okay as well. If you don't have a ruler, just find something that's long and straight. You don't actually need the ruler for the inches, you just need it for a flat line. You'll actually want the top of your Prismacolor colored pencil set. We're not using colored pencils at this point, but you'll probably want the top for that. You'll probably want a mechanical pencil. You got one of those in your art kit, and eventually you'll want a Sharpie as well. So those are the materials you're gonna need. All right, we're gonna execute 3 different exercises with this. The first one is 1-point perspective. And in 1-point perspective, you can see all of these lines here are called the orthogonal lines. Those are all lines that seem to be converging to a singular point. That singular point happens to be right here. And if you were to trace each of those lines, you'd find that they eventually would meet that point. That point is obviously called the vanishing point. You can see that lines only go 3 directions here. They go to the vanishing point, they go vertical, and they go horizontal. They're really not allowed to go any other direction. That's 1-point perspective. In 2-point perspective, we actually have 2 different vanishing points. We're going to call this vanishing point the left vanishing point, and this vanishing point the right vanishing point. As you can see, we're not looking down a hallway anymore, but it looks like we're looking at a street with a number of buildings. And you can see that lines can go, in this case, 4 directions. They can go vertical, they can go horizontal, they can go to the right vanishing point, and they can go to the left vanishing point. And this last example is what's called 3-point perspective. This is like if we were flying in a helicopter, and this might work over top of a city. As you can see here, you have 3 vanishing points, a right vanishing point, a left vanishing point, and then what is a bottom vanishing point. This creates kind of a distorted look where everything seems like it's filtering down into a cone, but it's very similar to two-point perspective the way it works here, except for now our lines can only go 3 directions again. They can only go to this vanishing point on the bottom, to the vanishing point on the right, and to the vanishing point on the left. Some of them seem like they would either go vertical or horizontal, but it's just because they happen to fall in the same line as the horizontal and vertical lines. So that's 3-point perspective.